with me in my foul life.
So talk to me. So Austin played last night. Didn't they play Boston last night?
He did play Boston last night, and he's only an hour and a half away. The farm is like an hour 20. So he drove last night, and he has an off day today. And I think he got in. I couldn't stay up. I tried waiting on him, but he got in around 12:30, and we got up at 4:45 this morning and hunted at Johnny's place. Johnny Carter. So we're going to hunt our farm, but our turkeys have just kind of. Hey, no, our turkeys at our farm have kind of. They've kind of slowed down. They've kind of been hunted a little bit by Dad, myself, and others all year. And Johnny doesn't really hunt, so I felt pretty good his turkeys would work. And sure enough, they did. They worked right off the bat, so it was good.
Right off the roost, how'd it go?
It went really good. Yeah, they just right off the roost. I mean, they didn't really respond to a whole lot of calling. I think they gobbled 5 times total. It was a little overcast and raining, and they saw the decoy, and two out of the 3 came running in, and Austin shot and got one. So that's his first Eastern, which is kind of cool.
Really, being born in Mississippi, Memphis, Tennessee area, you'd think he would have had a shot at some Easterns before. He's just mainly been a deer hunter, huh?
He mainly just deer hunted and duck hunted some right there. He never really got into turkey hunting real big. He killed his first turkey down at spring training with us in 2019. So may have been 2020 actually. So yeah, he kind of got into the turkey hunting a little bit late, but I think he's kind of ate up with it right now.
Congratulations to him on his turkey and his contract extension. That was some big news for him. What a stud. Well deserved, huh?
Yeah, I'm really happy for him. I mean, obviously, I've been around a lot of cool people like you have, and, a lot of, athletes, country singers and stuff. But, Austin has been a dear friend, even before he was pulled up, and to kind of see that happen to him, it couldn't happen to a better individual. And I know the city of Atlanta and Braves fans are just super excited to have him.
What does this?
Hey, stop it. Oh, sorry, Chad.
You're good. You're good.
Go ahead. Sorry.
What does being from the state of Georgia mean to you? I know that you went to college in Mississippi. You're a big Ole Miss advocate. You're very boisterous about this. You're from the land of the 2-time national champions.
Yeah.
How does that fare for Tyler Jordan, being a resident, born and raised in the state of Georgia? You're probably supposed to go to Athens, but you went to where Dad went. How does that all work out? Are you not a Georgia fan at all? You love being from the state of Georgia and you have a ton of pride in it, but your allegiance in college sports and football is Ole Miss. How does that all work out?
Yeah, for people that don't know, Dad went to Ole Miss. So Dad played with Archie Manning from 68 to 72. He was a wide receiver. And so I've been going to Ole Miss games since I was very little. I think Dad was kind of down to Alabama and Ole Miss. And, I think the kind of thing that pushed Dad over the edge was Archie Manning, being the quarterback there. And so, for me growing up, I've always been a very passionate Ole Miss fan, but I've also been a very passionate Braves and Falcons fan too. I mean, everything Georgia sports, I'm kind of big into, other than just the college side of it. If I had maybe another school I thought about going to, and this was mainly just because of other family members that went there. And, we're only 45 minutes from Auburn. We're right on that Georgia-Alabama line. So Auburn's very close. It's in our backyard, and grew up going there as a kid, to different football games, tailgating events. So Auburn may have been, a close second for me. I don't pull for Auburn, even though Coach Freeze is there, and Coach Freeze used to be at Ole Miss, and he's been a friend for a long time. So do pull for him. But, I don't know. Athens was just it's never something I really thought about. I did grow up there and go to a bunch of games, and it's not that I didn't like Athens or don't like Georgia. I was for sure pulling for them in the national championship, but It's college sports is just kind of different. It's just one of those things that you're passionate about your team and about that fan base. And for me, it's just it's Ole Miss is kind of like family, especially after going to school out there and having a lot of really close friends out there. My best friends have been from college, so um, I'm kind of an Ole Miss fan through and through, and proud of it.
Does it parlay over to professional sports at all, Tyler Jordan? Are you a Hawks, Braves, Falcons fan, or are you not really into the pro sports and you're mainly? I know that you love Austin Riley and the Braves. Chipper Jones has been a longtime friend of you, and several other people in the Braves organization. Are you a Hawks and a Falcons fan also?
Yeah, I'm a big time. I'm a fan of all of them. I've been to a few Hawks games. It's just, kind of during basketball season, I feel like it's either hunting or, the Braves also too, this time of year. So I go to more Braves games, but no, I love the Hawks. I think I've been to a playoff Hawks game. It's been several years back. But the Falcons have always been a diehard Falcons fan too. Go to a lot of games. Went to the Super Bowl, sadly, when they lost, when they were up by a lot, and knew a few players on the team. But regardless of that, I've always been a real big Falcons fan. And Braves has kind of been my number one, just because I did grow up playing baseball. Chipper may have had a little bit to do with that, him and Dad being buddies and doing some stuff on Realtree Outdoors, but for me, I loved all the Braves players. Played baseball, grew up watching those guys. They were really good in the '90s, early 2000s. So, the Braves kind of hold a special place to my heart. But waiting for the Falcons to get good. I think they're kind of on the up and up right now, which is kind of good to see. But definitely keep a close eye on all the Georgia pro sport teams.
Out of everything that you have on your walls in your office, your private residence, not including Dad's collection, what is your number one piece of memorabilia? It doesn't have to even be sports, but I know that you've hunted with Luke Bryan. You've hunted with many, many Nashville country music stars. You've hunted with ex-presidents like President Jimmy Carter. I'm sure there's been more. I know you have hoods of NASCAR drivers. What is the number one personalized piece of memorabilia you have to Tyler Jordan?
That's hard.
I bet it is.
That's a hard question to answer. I tell you, if I had to just pick one, I would want like three, but if I had to pick one, President Carter was somebody that, regardless of politics and your affiliation with Republican, Democrat, Independent, whatever, like being able to take a president hunting. But I think just for me, seeing his joy of turkey hunting. He said at his age, which he hasn't done it in several years. He stopped turkey hunting when he was 96. But he said, he goes, I cancel phone calls, events, around turkey hunting with y'all. And to me, that says a lot, regardless if it's us or somebody else, seeing a president's enthusiasm become turkey hunt and to see him enjoy that so much. He signed a picture. The last turkey he's killed, to my knowledge, was with me. Dad put us in a spot, and we just we sat down there for several hours, kind of boring, but hunting with him was really cool. Killed a turkey, and he signed the picture for me. That was awesome. And then he signed another picture for me of Dad and I with him, and he weighs all of his birds, and the turkey weighed 24 and a half pounds, and he signed that photo for me, and that photo is actually in my office. So that is really cool. I mean, it's, and he signed a box call for me. It was one of Dad's favorite box calls he had. And, the spring came loose in it, and President Carter took it to his house, brought it back 2 days later and fixed it. And then he signed it. And so, Dad's not so much on keeping a ton of memorabilia, but those are three things that will never leave me as long as I'm alive. So, having those are really cool. On the sports side, I'll say this just because, we're friends, but Austin Riley, I went to a Braves game last year, and it's a game I was at where he hit his 87th home run. And then after the game, he signed it, inscribed it, 87th home run, gave me the bat. That's really cool, just off the the friendship and how much I think of him. Uh, and then Chipper Jones, actually, here just a few days ago, I have his 476 home run bat, and he actually signed it.
Wow.
And he signed it and inscribed it for me. I brought it to him. He's like, "Dang, this is really cool. Can't believe you found this." And so, as a sports fans, I kind of collect a lot of. I have probably 10 or 12 bats. I just think bats are really cool. So Chipper signed that, and those are probably kind of my three things from people that I really like. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of really cool stuff that you look at. Some of the Earnhardt, I have an Earnhardt helmet that's signed from Dale Senior. That's really cool. Kevin Harvick. Not to ramble on and on, but
No, you're good. I like it.
This is our last year with Kevin Harvick is retiring. We've been with Kevin, for folks that don't know, since 2001. Dale passed the very next week. Kevin, took Dale's seat, and they changed the number from 3 to 29. And so we've been with Kevin for that long, even more because in 1999, the first car that he ever ran for Richard Childress, Buckmasters and Realtree sponsored at Talladega. So we've been with Kevin for 24 years on the partnership side. And so, can't say enough about him. And actually, I have a helmet that he wore 2 weeks ago. He wore it for 2 races. We ran one in Martinsville, one in Dover, wore the helmet and signed it. And it's got pictures of myself, Dad, Kevin's first deer hunt, elk hunt, turkey hunt, pictures of different paint schemes he ran with us throughout the years. So I don't know, I'm really big on keeping stuff like that and just, looking back on it, showing kids, showing, family. And to me, it's just really cool being able to reflect and look back on some of those special moments and, keep some of that stuff at the farm.
I think it's cool because, there's a lot of people, Tyler Jordan, that go out and buy a lot of sports memorabilia. They might own sports bars. They just might be a sports fanatic, and they want the letter of authenticity, and they want it stapled to the back of the frame, or they want it in a gun safe somewhere. And they just love having sports memorabilia. I'm the same way as you. Do you have your phone by you? I just text you a video.
Hold on.
That's my brother Clint. That's my brother Clint. He builds these shadow boxes for me, customized.
Dude.
And you can see that there's a pair of Realtree batting gloves in there, a game used bat that Austin gave me in San Francisco, a jersey, a ball, gloves, or baseball cards, and then a personal photo with Austin. And I have those with so many different athletes that I've met because of hunting. And I just like it because it's personalized. You know what I mean?
Dude, that is awesome. No, so I have something, man, and again, I can't name one piece of memorabilia. So I'm going to have to get in touch with your buddy because I got to get in touch with your buddy and have something done very similar. But Austin, so he hit in the NLCS game 1 against the Dodgers. He hit the walk-off run to win that game. Well, I got the jersey from that game. Austin signed it. I also have the batting gloves from that game, but I also have a picture of him and I at the World Series celebration. So I need to get this guy's number and have something very similar done. That's a really, really cool frame and piece you have right there.
That's my brother, Clint, my middle brother that you've never met.
Okay.
So that's Clint. And yeah, if you got a picture of the World Series and then a picture of you in Austin with your turkey and some Realtree batting gloves, you even have, let me show you this one if you can see this. This is another style that
he does a really good job. That's awesome.
Isn't that neat? Look at this one real quick, and then we'll move on to some hunting stuff. But he can also do this for you because I would assume that you have a pair of Austin's Realtree spikes. I was going to say real cleats. I was about to say real cleats, but Realtree spikes. So look at that one. This one is from another hunter that hunts. His name's, Adam Wainwright, I'm sure, from the St. Louis Cardinals.
So know who he is.
Look at that one when it comes through. He's in the National League, so he hits. He's a good hitting pitcher.
Yeah.
And then my brother can do that style for you as well. Obviously, it'd probably be better to meet in person and transfer it over because I don't know about shipping that stuff. We could ship it, but again, you're taking a chance with that. Did that come through?
It did. That's awesome. I'm looking at it. Yeah, no, I have both his cleats, the Realtree Timber cleats in Mizuno. That'd be really cool to put there. No, that's awesome. I'm gonna have to definitely figure out how to get it done.
And then this one right here is real quick. So he could put your cleats in there from Austin. And then this is the newest one my brother did for me. This is Charlie Blackmon, another duck hunter that's the starting right fielder for the Colorado Rockies. He's a silver slugger like Austin. He won the batting title in 2015, I believe, in the NL. But you can kind of see my brother kind of went outside the box on this one. And Charlie signed that jersey to me. No sleeves, no problem. and then you can kind of see it. Did that come through yet?
Yeah, I got the Charlie. Yeah, I got the Blackman one. That's awesome.
So see, then my brother can hang your Austin Riley batting gloves off the bat like that, and then put the cleats on the side with a signed ball, some signed cards, and then some personal pictures of you and Austin.
I'm gonna have to get his information, or we'll have to figure out how to get him to a Braves game, and so I can put this stuff in a bag and give it to him. Maybe he could take it back or something.
Yeah,
maybe both of us can come to a game this summer.
Yeah, I'd love to. We'll come down and visit Realtree and then get that stuff and then carry it back. But yeah, he's an artist by trade. He's got a master's in physical therapy. That's how he makes his living. But if you saw the drawings he's done of wildlife, or he loves painting professional boxers like Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike Tyson, those kind of guys. So he just loves putting stuff together like that. So I'll get that going. What is it about the branding right now, Tyler, in your opinion, in today's world of camouflage? Give me some of the most important things. My number one is performance, but camouflage has become a lifestyle culture deal, right? It's kind of become cool to wear. Before, you wear camo into a bar and you're like, man, I wear camo all duck season. I want to start wearing something that's a little bit more lifestyle, orientated. So all these hunting companies, whether it was Bandit or Drake and Realtree, all these companies had come out with like casual lines that you would see at a golf pro shop. The SEC was prominent with this. Every kid had a Bandit sticker, a Realtree sticker, a Drake sticker, that duck head on it. They were wearing this stuff to the country club, to the bars, and it wasn't camo. But now we've transitioned to where now camo is coming back into like a cultural deal. You mentioned earlier about the shirt you're wearing right now with the Advantage. What is it about camouflage that people want to wear it into public? Is it a hunter pride deal? Because women are wearing it, guys are wearing it, kids are wearing it. What do you think it is?
I don't really know. I kind of thought we had seen maybe the peak of lifestyle camouflage. Like, we have a lot of different companies that are not, your hunting companies like a Banded, like a Benelli, or other hunting brands like, the companies Otterbox and Crocs, which have been great partners of ours. They do still a lot of camo, and that's I guess I'm a little bit surprised. Maybe I shouldn't be. I think the camo deal has always kind of been a trend. And it seems to always kind of come in. Every couple of years. You haven't really seen a big void of 4 or 5 years where camo's not a trend somewhere. This still shocks me, but there's that company Supreme. I'm not a Supreme customer. It's just I'm not that familiar with the brand, but they still do a ton of stuff in Realtree, and are bringing back some of the vintage camo patterns for this fall. And then we have companies like Filson also, and I would argue that there's a lot of people that probably wear Filson that are maybe not outdoorsmen that wear it just for the lifestyle side of it. And I was talking to the guys at Camo Retro. I'm sure you've probably seen that brand. A lot of the marketplace for old school camo, and he has had his best. 2022 was his best year in business, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, he can correct me, but I think he's been around since like 2014 or 15, and 2022 was the best year he's ever had. So, a lot of that's old school camo, but, we've kind of seen a demand, for some of those older patterns being brought back, and I think for my dad, it's a little, I don't want to say tough, but, he's so focused on new and developing something new that he can't ever wrap his head around of like, why would we want to go back and do this? But it's like you said, I think it's just more lifestyle focused, than maybe, some of us realize. It's like this Advantage Classic pattern, like we were talking about a little bit ago, turkey hunted this morning. And this right now is one of the number one selling patterns on our website. We just have a couple of SKUs in it, but to me, it's, I don't know if this is a bamboo shirt. People may just want this more for a lifestyle piece than a hunting piece.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to see, and I catch myself doing it now, man. I'm like this little top I got here. I just wear it into public, and before I was kind of like I said, I wear camo all season long, and maybe it's time to get out. What is your personal, for lack of better terms, your personal positioning right now with your life, Tyler? Last year you hunted hard. I don't know how many deer camps you visited, but I followed along, and you go hard. Last spring you went harder than you went this spring for turkeys. You're married now. You're a Southern God-fearing man. You are going to have kids someday, I assume. You're going to be a great father like your dad has been. Your dad has even had kids later in life that are your younger brothers and sisters, where your dad's, in maybe close to 70, and he's raising young kids. It's part of the Jordan family tradition. How does this affect your mindset of going hard and traveling like you have to keep this brand at the forefront, recording the videos, doing Realtree 365, content for social media? Is it concerning to you? Does it scare you that you might have to slow down someday, Tyler? Are you ready to slow down, or do you still enjoy going hard? I know you're not mad and you don't need to have the kill every time, but where do you stand on that right now, Tyler Jordan? Is it going to come to a halt and you're going to have to slow down and be around the office more?
Yeah, and I think more of that has just kind of come from I want to be around the office more. I didn't, 2-3 years ago, I didn't know if I'd say that, but, I don't know. I don't really, the grind of kind of being on the road, like you said, I spent a lot of time away from home, a lot of falls, a lot of springs. I still enjoy going, but this spring and last fall is probably the least I've ever traveled for deer hunting and turkey hunting. That was really done on purpose. I think kind of I don't want to say a toll it takes. It as good as anybody. We're very blessed. I don't want it to ever sound like complaining for what we get to do, because I love it so much, and I love being able to share it with, friends, family, and others, just introducing new people. And that's, to me, is where I get the biggest joy out of, being on the road and doing that is really the friendships and relationships. It's way less about the success that you have in the woods. So for me, that's been a little bit tough letting some of that go, but, I think, the older I get, being married, coming up on a 2-year anniversary Monday, believe it or not. So that's kind of crazy.
Congrats.
Thank you. So, I really enjoy being in the office, focusing a lot more on the strategy and ways we can get better as a brand. And, I think my dad, when he was older than me at this point, he probably like 37, 38. And he realized, like, look, I need help. This was about kind of the same time period. He was like, Michael Waddell, David Blanton, I need people to kind of step in and help alleviate some of this, because I'm the business owner, and my dad, although very, very much involved there every day in the company, I want to be there with him and learn as much as I can from him. So, I kind of look at this as an opportunity for me and him to kind of work closely together and, lay out our 5-10 year strategy. And, for me, there's no second guessing. Like, I'll still do a few deer hunts a year. Obviously we'll hunt around here in Georgia. But the turkey hunting for me, even though it's probably my favorite to go and do. I only made it to Alabama this year, didn't go to Florida for the first time in years. But that's, to me, that's just part of it. I have zero complaints about it, and honestly probably enjoy being inside the business as much as I do on the road.
I know that you you have zero regrets, and we're so blessed. I mean, holy smokes, can you imagine that somebody would get to do this and make a living doing it? But you mentioned two individuals there. I have two questions. One's your dad and one's David. I'm going to start with David Blanton. Do you get FOMO when you see him up at 7J? He just had an unbelievable turkey hunt, I imagine. I know you're happy for him. I know you're sending him texts, and after you get that group text and y'all are like, congrats, how's the video? David Blanton has that reputation of filming first. He wanted that perfect hunt. I had Philip Culpepper on the show not too long ago, and he referred to Nate Hosey as the new age David Blanton that gets that perfect camera set up for turkey hunting. Yeah. David's done it with deer and turkey his whole career. Do you get FOMO? Does it make you go, gosh, dang it, I wish I was up there with him?
No, I tell you, I don't. And maybe that's not good. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Honestly, no. Like, for me, when I see somebody like Philip or Nate, like, get a really cool hunt, or even Brian Brown on road trips, or Michael Pitts, who's doing a lot of road trip shows, or, Austin Riley went with Pitts and Brian in Florida a couple of months ago. Yeah, do I wish I could be there and high five with the guys and celebrate? There is no doubt about it. But to me, I'm like a huge cheerleader. I mean, whatever they're doing down there and hunting is only good for all of us. So no, I really don't get serious FOMO on some of that stuff. So maybe that's a good thing. But I try to be as much of a team player and root for all those guys to be successful, because we all win in the end, hopefully.
Are you shadowing your dad a lot these days? I know you're out of college. I know you have a full-time gig. You're the namesake of the brand, but is it still kind of like an internship when you have somebody with that much experience and knowledge and wherewithal of this industry? Or do you find yourself just sitting there being a sponge most days? Because I feel like if I got to spend a month in that office, I don't think I would want to leave Bill's side, because I would want all of that to soak in. I would want to have all of that. And I assume that somebody like Waddell, Blanton, people that have had T-Bone, people that have lived in that area and they had quick access to that office, I'm sure they would say the same thing, that knowledge is key. And it almost, I know that you have deadlines, I know that you have responsibilities, but do you find yourself almost feeling like an intern sometimes, like you're just there soaking up dad's knowledge?
Yeah, it's dad's knowledge, and it's other people. Like, we have really good VPs in the company. And really, it's just kind of learning from dad and all of them. There are many days where I feel really dumb. And I mean, I'll be completely honest. I feel like I have a familiarity with the brand that others don't. But when it comes to business sense, I wake up in a lot of days. And I think that's kind of what makes me, want to be in the office more and, seek knowledge from others, is because I by far don't know everything. Every day I feel like I do learn something new on the printing side, with those people, on the patterns, the fabrics, getting a pattern right. I think people don't realize is, like, when we have patterns, whether it be Max 7 or, when we went to Realtree Edge or any pattern, it's a lot of work, and it takes sometimes 2 to 3 years until a pattern gets finalized. And so that back and forth between the printing mills and all of that, and coming up with a marketing strategy, sitting down, just branding spots, commercials, social media. I mean, there's always something. And then on top of that, you have over 1,500 licensees that you have to go to bat for and do all you can to support them. So there's always something new in there. Sometimes it's like very overwhelming. But, something dad has been blessed with from day one is that he's always had really good people around him. Dad does a great job himself, but, he'll be the first to tell you that he wouldn't make it to where he is today without being super blessed with the people in his life and the people that have come through that company over the years. And I feel that is as strong as ever today with the people that we have. Dad has had a lot of people from that have started and ended their careers at Realtree, and I think that says a lot about him and the culture that he's kind of built there. So not to ramble, but
You're not at all. At this point in your career, Tyler Jordan, you've been a face of the brand for a long time. I mean, let's talk about when you're a kid, the commercials. I believe it was you and Johnny Carter. You miss school and you're late and you turkey hunt and you run into the school, you deer hunt and you run in, and just clever, witty, out of the box, unorthodox approach to showing that friends, family, outdoors. It's been a part of my life since I signed with Realtree in 2002 or 3 when the original Max 4 came out. At this point in your life, Tyler Jordan, has it changed? Are you stressed? Is there pressures that you did not see coming? Your dad has taken this brand from 1986 and elevated it to what it has become in 2023. There are always ups and downs, don't get me wrong. New competition comes into the space, dealer base, the way that we shop now with Amazon and the internet, and the way people get their content. It's always learning and transitioning and evolving. I get that. But is your love for the outdoors the same it was of that little pearly white tooth kid with the big smile running out of the truck into school, knowing he's got to explain to the teacher that the turkeys were gobbling that morning? Has it changed? Are the stresses different? Do you go to bed late worrying? You're a businessman now. Is it different for you in 2023?
No, I don't think so. It's like this morning when we hunted with Austin. I mean, I couldn't even sleep last night, and it wasn't from stress. It was just because I was so excited, and Austin was the same way. I look so forward to getting up and going hunting, and doing stuff like that, or even if it's going by myself. I mean, turkey hunting, deer hunting is the same, but it's one of those things where, like, I've never been like, hey, I need a couple extra hours of sleep. I'm always excited to get up and go, and always have that enthusiasm. But I think, some of the stresses of the business and stuff, I think that's just natural in any business, right? I mean, I talk to a lot of business owners, and that stress kind of comes naturally. I think where the stress comes is, and Dad always told me this growing up, and I never really understood what he meant until, I kind of put myself in his shoes and am around that office every day. Yeah, it's the stress of business, but it's really the stress of, like, you look around that office and you have 60 employees that depend on you and that depend on this brand. And I think that, it may put some stress on what, decisions that you make and trying to do the best thing for everybody. It really kind of makes you look at things as a whole instead of, maybe one small decision. You realize there's a lot of families that depend on this brand to survive. So, I think that kind of comes with maturity and, kind of growing up and seeing it through that light now. But, I think when you talk about competition and, seeing things through a different lens and, the different ways that people buy, a lot of direct to consumer, but the independent's still very, very important to what we do. I think what kind of keeps me very optimistic is that it's opportunity. Like, there's so much opportunity out there. Like, there's so many different ways that people buy. To me, that's a good thing. And as long as you're, efficient enough in each one of those, I mean, I think, knock on wood, that you're going to be okay. And, keeping your brand at the forefront and keeping it strong, that everything's going to work out in the end.
You're in an interview with me for a job. You know that the job pertains to hunting. I asked Tyler Jordan, what are your skill sets in hunting? Where have you excelled in hunting? Is it scouting? Is it game calling? Are you a master turkey caller? Can you grunt a deer in? Can you snort wheeze a deer? Are you a master duck and goose caller? Are you an unbelievable shot with a bow? What are your skill sets that I am going to hire you over other hunters to give you this job that's going to pay well and you're going to hunt, but you have to put food on the table? What are your skill sets?
Hmm. That's a good question. On the turkey hunting side of it, just because it is turkey season, and I can probably answer that a little bit better right now. This may not be kind of the answer you're looking for. I feel like I've become a lot better caller over the years. Like I'm very comfortable now with a mouth call and feel confident. Like I don't really want to call when I'm around Michael or Philip though, or even Nate Hosey or others because those guys are on another level. But like I feel confident a lot with the calls that I use and learning different cadences and different situations. Time of year. Kind of filling that bird out, almost taking a guess of kind of what the mood that turkey's in at the time. I feel like just going through like repetition in different scenarios has been really good for me. I feel like I can be about as good as anyone in that situation. And then, in turkey hunting too, like just having patience is so key. Like I've learned the hard way so many times, and there's several times it happens throughout the spring where, man, if I had just waited, just because something's not happening right then and there, you know, um, sometimes sitting an extra 30, 45 minutes of, no gobbling, nothing happening can really be, beneficial. Doesn't mean that turkey's not eventually going to work in there. So I've made the mistake of getting up too early from setups and spooking birds. But to me, that's just kind of part of the learning curve you go through as a turkey hunter, especially this time of year too. It's like, with Austin this morning, they didn't work just right off the roost. They gobbled a few times on the tree. And, when they got on the ground, they didn't respond to any calls. And I think 5, 6 years ago, I may have picked up and moved. Like I probably would have tried to move closer to those birds, made something happen, try to make them gobble. But I was like, you know what? Let's give it some time. And we probably sat there for 20, 25 minutes of nothing happening, no gobbles or nothing. Then all of a sudden I look up and, those turkeys kind of knew where we were and they see the decoy and come in. So I think, and I can say the same thing about deer hunting too, getting more comfortable with a bow. But patience there is also very key, not trying to change things up too much, scouting, different spots. That's something I've really enjoyed. Like when you have your own place, like we do here in Georgia, and the scouting, putting up different tree stands. Sometimes, like during the rut, I think, during the rut when I was younger, I'd always want to sit like in the same couple of spots. But I think what I've learned maybe more recently is, bouncing around different areas, like, changing it up every day, like try not to sit like when it's prime time, never sit in the same place twice, like back to back, like morning, afternoon, or very next morning. I've just had more success, switching things up a bit.
Would you put your archery skills in a pressure situation up against Nick Munt, Michael
No.
Waddell? Do you remember when we launched Edge and we had the archery competition in Georgia?
Yeah.
I believe it was Nick Munt there at the end. I think Waddell was maybe up there, but Nick Munt, I believe, won it. Do you put your skills
Yeah.
up against these guys?
No, no, not at all. Not at all. I honestly, I don't shoot as much as those guys do. Like I don't shoot like a Nick or Michael or Travis does. I really don't start shooting a bow probably until the beginning or middle of August. And that's probably too late, but like once deer season's over, November, December, and bow season's really slowed down, I won't pick it up again for too long. And then like in August, T-Bone lives pretty close by. Like I'll go sit with him and, shoot for a few days and, get back like in a rhythm and comfortable again. But man, I probably shouldn't use this as an excuse. Just I wish I had like could find more time to like just like really focus on that. But the turkey season comes around and you get busy. So no, I would definitely not put it up there with those guys. Those guys are like Philip and Nate and Michael turkey calling are on another level with a bow too.
When you think about how hunting brings all of these different lifestyles together that we've mentioned during this conversation, and we got to pinch ourselves a lot, and I want people to understand though, Tyler, that the people that we mention, whether it's Austin or I don't even know how many quote unquote celebrities you've ran with. Michael Waddell has become a rock star in the hunting industry, if you really think about it. But let's just make sure that people understand that none of them act like it, right? Like, you've never been in camp with like a Luke Bryan. He's like, hey, make sure that you guys stay away from me. I'm on a different level here. I'm going to have my own campfire over here. I brought my own bartender. And by the way, I brought a couple guys that are going to skin my deer and they're going to do all the stuff for me. Like, it's not like that, right, Tyler? These are like from John Anderson to Luke Bryan, to Austin Riley, to President Jimmy Carter. You've hunted with coaches. You've hunted with country music, NASCAR drivers, baseball, football, hockey, you name it. They're no different than we are they?
No. Otherwise, we wouldn't be hanging out with them, right?
Exactly.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be sharing camp with those guys. They just wouldn't be our kind of people. But no, like, I think that's what kind of draws me so much, and why the outdoors to me is such a, yes, the business side, what our family has done in the industry, but why it draws, so much attention to me is like my best memories are with those kind of people, friends, family, sharing that bond that we all have. And that's a love for, being outside and, whether it be fishing, hunting. But, some of those guys, like the Undertaker or going with Austin, I think it can be sometimes misconceived, and you probably have had some of this too, like, from different people that watch stuff, and they think that we just want to be around those guys to have clout, or, we're trying to get something out of it. But I think whether it's me, whether it's you, whether it's Michael, whether it's anybody, the juries, whoever it is, I don't care what camouflage pattern you wear. To me, it just like, it says so much that those people say, hey, look, I'm willing to say that what we're doing is okay, and what we're doing is fun, and what we're doing is, I want to also share with my family. Like, I'll say this about the Undertaker. I didn't grow up watching WWE. I didn't grow up watching all that stuff. Knew who he was, obviously, like a lot of people, but it's just not like, it's not what I was all about as a kid. We didn't grow up watching as a family. But, whenever he shot his first turkey down here with us in Alabama, he immediately went and tried to find a couple of places to lease and some land to even, have of his own one day and take his daughter turkey hunting. To me, that is like, that's awesome. Whether he went with, I don't care who he went with. Like, to me, like, now he's a hunter and he's pro turkey hunting for life. Like, and, so that to me is just, really cool, is, building fans of, our sport and our industry, from people like that.
I couldn't agree more. I think the platform is strong and when they are taking a chance of alienating themselves to 50% of their fan base potentially, it says a lot that they would put that on the line, in my opinion. So I'm all about it. I don't think the clout really matters, because I've always said that whether I'm at a concert watching another Georgia-born hunter, Zach Brown, I think he's from Dahlonega. When he's in the woods, he's not that guy that's selling out Fenway Park 3 nights in a row. He is humbled. He is on his knees thanking God and Mother Nature. He is in awe of the dog and the boat ride and the ducks and the campfire and the smell and the sounds. Like, you just completely forget that the guy just came from blowing the roof off. Jason Aldean you've hunted with. This guy sells out everywhere. Luke Bryan, Willie Robertson, the Duck Commander guys went from big to real big, and they didn't change, right? Like, they're still part of that Realtree family. So I think that the clout part of it is misconceived, because, man, when they're in camp, you're just like, they respect what you do. They're asking questions. Hey, how do you blow that duck call? Hey, where did you get your dog trained? Hey, what kind of bow is that? Like, they're asking questions. They're inquisitive. They want to learn. And I'm sitting there going, you just sang with Steven Tyler of Aerosmith. How was that? Like, there's this dual respect. And I think that is so key in prolonging this culture, that people have to understand that there's so many different walks of life that enjoy it. And we all have to understand that nobody's bigger than the outdoors and Mother Nature and the man upstairs. And I think that that's what Realtree has stood for so long, that they have shown that all of these walks of life are friends, family, and outdoors. And that's been key to me. And I give you guys kudos for doing it. And I've always wondered, I wonder if these guys ever have regrets for putting themselves out there. And they don't. They do it with dignity and they do it with class. And I love that part of it. And you've seen it a lot more than I have. And your dad, all the way back in the 80s, was hunting with celebrities. And you would never know it meeting your dad. He's just a normal Southern gentleman. Am I right, Tyler?
Yeah, but I think it's like, you're going to probably agree with this, but when you hunt with those guys and you share camp with them, and I think it almost makes you more like down to earth and humble, after being in a camp with them. You realize that we're all freaking human, right? We all just like to do and the same thing. And, some of them, it's their first time and getting introduced to it. And, very rarely do you take people for the first time and they have a bad experience, even if they're not successful by taking wild game, you end up making somewhat of a outdoorsman out of them. So I think, but yeah, I mean, like Dad, growing up, I think for Dad, the Jeff Foxworthys, Chipper Jones, Dale Earnhardt, those people really kind of helped put Dad on the map during that time, just because they were so influential in their respected space that they took a chance on, hunting with Dad, putting themselves on television, saying that, hey, this brand Realtree, what they stand for, what hunting is all about, we love it too, and we're willing to kind of display that for the world. So, I think those people going with him in the early days, I think that's why Dad is maybe so humble about it. Is like, without them, I don't really know where Realtree would be, and I honestly mean that. There's a lot of people to thank along the way, and those are definitely some of them that took a chance and stuck by him.
Let me say this, and I totally agree. I'm taking a note as you talk because I don't want to miss this. You know what else it taught me, and I'm sure you saw this too, is like when I first started getting like recognized, I guess, out in public, and I would be at like a Max Prairie Wings and somebody would come up to me and be like, hey, can I get my picture? I didn't know how to act. I was like, what? Like, no, like I wasn't trying to be like, no, I was just not used to it. I didn't get it. And then spending time with these guys, whether it's Dan Henderson or a big time UFC fighter or a baseball player, and the way they treat their fans and the way they don't say no and the way that they let those people live through them a couple seconds of the day or a minute of the day with a picture and a selfie and an autograph. I was like, that taught me so much about class and respect for other people, and that nobody's bigger than any. And I never was trying to do that. I was just like, I was taken aback. Like, you really want a duck hunter's autograph? And now I'm humbled and I'm like, I'm so honored, right? Because these guys are honored even after their careers are over and they're recognized, and they might be at a hunting camp or a boat ramp or a casino or a restaurant or whatever. I've seen them never turn somebody away and make somebody feel weird. And that showed me that it taught me how to accept it, if that makes sense to you.
No, it does. It does big time. I think what you said is spot on. So I agree with all that.
Yeah. And I think that, being a celebrity is just what it is. It's they don't look at it that way. They kind of want to just be a normal person. And when they're in duck camp or goose camp or turkey and deer camp, they just feel like one of the boys. And that's what they want. That's what they're seeking out, because a lot of their lives is not normal. What's on the table right now, Tyler, as we come to the end of our conversation? What are we going to see going into this fall? Get us fired up with Realtree. Give us, are there different projects being worked on? Is Pops looking to surprise us with another awesome pattern? I remember when Timber came out and I got to see it at SHOT Show. I actually had a Timber shirt on this morning at the gym, and I love that pattern, man. That pattern is unbelievable. I wear it so much. I'm going to show you this. This is I actually just got this. This is a new ad that's coming out in the gear issue of Wildfowl, the August Giant Gear issue. Anyway, Timber, Edge, Max 7. What do we have to look forward to this year, Tyler?
So we're constantly working on different patterns. I would say that my focus, which is why I've been in the office a lot, um, amongst other reasons, but I mean, I've been in the office a lot trying to focus on a lot of these heritage vintage patterns. I see a lot of demand whenever we post an old picture of people, and one of those patterns is advantage wetlands too. Like it's a pattern that's asked about by a lot of people. And I think that's kind of in right now. And the pattern that I'm wearing, Advantage Classic, this pattern, I think what it kind of represented back in the day, and Dad has said it really has kind of, at the time it was revolutionary. You wouldn't think much of it now. It's a very leafy pattern, but it really separated himself from what everybody else was doing on the market. And I think although Realtree Original and some of those other ones were very good, this Advantage Classic was kind of responsible for elevating Realtree even further. So, and for me, it's sentimental because my first whitetail and my first actually not my first whitetail, that was Advantage Timber. My first turkey though was in this pattern. My first two turkeys were in Advantage Classic. So I don't know, I look back at old pictures and see that we have it on some modern clothes today is really cool. And there's some other patterns we're working on. What's kind of crazy about some of those older patterns, you think we would just have like a file of it and could just go pick it up and put it on anything, but a lot of these we don't have the digital files for these patterns. So we're having to go recreate these patterns, which is a whole process in itself. But it's been fun. It's kind of fun seeing some of these patterns come back to life and, allowing some of these brands to take it. So I would say, we're working on some of that. We also are working on several other patterns to, take place of some of our current ones. We just had Max 7 come out, which was successful last year. And like Realtree Edge has done really well in the market for a long time, but we're working on different things in and around those style patterns too. So for that this fall, and then looking into 24, constantly innovating. And the fishing stuff is another thing too. You would think that we could just have like a standard fishing pattern, but fishing is one of those things that's kind of challenging because the market for it changes so rapidly. As soon as a style comes in, it may be like, that colorway may be good for a season or two, but then you're looking to replace it with something else. So always looking to have different patterns, on file to kind of go with that market. It's been a lot of work too, but so we're constantly doing stuff on the fishing too. all good stuff going on.
I can't wait. Tyler, when I saw you in Little Rock last year, Arkansas, for the Delta Waterfowl Convention, July 31st timeframe, late July, early August, I barely recognized you. You had went on a big workout program, nutrition, watching what you eat. Are you still doing it? Are you still having success with it? How did you do it?
Well, I lost a ton of weight. I think I lost like 35 or 36 pounds. It was kind of crazy. I've maintained that weight pretty good. But just trying to eat a lot leaner and cut out, just some of the junk. I mean, it's kind of as simple as that. I went like from spring last year all the way till probably the middle of September, October, every single day, just having salmon and salad. No bad drinks. I maybe occasionally would have a beer every now and then, but for the most part, I kept it like all sodas, got rid of all that. So I mean, it sounds simple, but really it just is. I mean, everybody, I think, when they saw me was like, "Man, what'd you do?" Honestly, you just cut out junk. I mean, that's kind of just the key to it. And worked out a little bit here and there. Working out was really not the biggest part of it, I don't think. I think the part of it was just changing up my diet, but trying to keep on that. Turkey season is kind of a bad time just because you do kind of eat a little bit of junk food mid-morning, but turkey season ends on Monday, so we're back on the diet full time.
The Realtree Hot Seat, brought to you by Realtree, friends, family, the outdoors. Tyler Jordan, when you sit down in the turkey woods, are you more scared of a snake or a tick?
That's I would probably say a tick. This is probably not good. I don't really think about snakes a whole lot. I
Ooh.
mean, but this time of year, it's been unseasonably cool this year. So it really just started warming up these last couple of weeks. So I'm sure the snakes will come out, but I don't like either one of them, honestly.
Tyler Jordan, if I took you on an offshore fishing trip and we're 3 miles offshore, let's say between Boca Raton, Florida and the Bahamas, do you jump off or are you scared of the ocean and because we don't know what lies beneath? Do you jump off the boat to go for a cool off swim?
Yeah, I ain't scared.
Tyler Jordan, if we went to Dollyland together in Tennessee, would you ride all of the big time roller coasters or are you scared of that adrenaline rush?
I would ride them all. I ain't scared.
If I take you to a sushi restaurant, do you feel at home? Do you order raw fish or does everything have to be cooked?
No, I love eating raw fish. I love sushi.
So it's not just bait to you being from that part of the country, huh?
No. If any, honestly, I don't like a ton of fried sushi all the time. I like fresh cooked meat. So I like
if you got to go to one concert this summer, would it be Guns N' Roses? Would it be Whiskey Myers? Or would it be Chris Stapleton? Or does it have to be a new country act? I just named 3 that aren't the new country act. I know that there's Aldean, there's the Luke Bryans, there's all that.
Can I name somebody else?
Yes, go. What concert is Tyler Jordan going to this summer?
Because I'm actually going to see him next week for our anniversary, but it's Zach Bryan.
Ooh, now let's talk about this cat as I let you go today. Thank you for being on the show, Tyler Jordan. Zach Bryan, military, Oklahoma, underground, outlawish a little bit, songwriter, just machine. How did this all happen? I mean, did he just get a cult following on college campuses and then all of a sudden he's arguably the biggest thing in country music? Maybe he is now with the new announcements from Morgan Wallen with his vocal cords. He's out for 6 weeks at least, I just heard. What is this Zach Bryan guy all about?
I mean, he's a very good songwriter. I know that. I mean, he's awesome. But wouldn't you say that a lot of the same people, like Morgan, went through this phase too, where they were kind of, and I think Zach Bryan kind of went through this. I also think Chris Stapleton went through this, where they were almost the anti-Nashville everyday guy. Not that there's anything wrong with what a Luke and Blake Shelton and all them do, but they almost like went against the grain of all that. Like kind of being in and out of that music industry. I think that's where a lot of it is, and just being like writing their own songs and I don't know. I think a lot of it comes from that. Kind of like a Taylor Swift writing her own songs, and why people probably love her so much. I mean, I kind of feel the same thing to Zach Bryan. You just feel more connected to him that way.
I couldn't agree more. The songwriting is so key, and a lot of people don't even look into who's writing the songs. It's such a big part of it. Last question. If I told you that you never got to hunt again,
yeah.
If you don't fist fight this person, you have to fist fight them, and you have to take them on. And you've said this a few times in the last 10 minutes that you're not scared. Who wins in a really good Southern country boy fist fight between you and Drew Keith? Go.
Oh, Drew Keith's going to kick my butt. You know that.
Is that the guy? Like, I don't know if I would even like say anything mean to that guy. Like, I'm like, have you ever seen him wakeboard?
No.
Have you seen him jump the wake and flip the wake? He's got a way. I'm going to say Drew Keith is 6'1" or 260 pounds, maybe 265, and he can flip the wake on a wakeboard.
Wow.
I'm not kidding you. He has video of it.
That's surprising. I actually, it was so weird. He just texted me during this interview, but no, Drew's scary. He can be scary. Whenever he kind of like, he'll sometimes grab me by the neck. You know how he does, and like, yeah, no, Drew. I mean, I would do it if I could hunt, but I mean, I'd already know the end result's not going to be good for me.
You might not be able to hunt after.
That's very true too.
That's like that old analogy of like, would you fight Mike Tyson for $5 million? Well, yeah, but I'm going to have to spend it on like funeral expenses or medical bills for the rest of my life, you know?
It'll go toward my health for the end of time.
Tyler, I was going to put you on the spot and ask you about duck season, but we got to try. We got to get on one together for sure and get some mallards. We really do one of these days. But I know you're not traveling as much, but we'll talk off mic and off camera about some plans I have to see if any of them match up with you. Thank you for letting us be part of the Realtree family. Congratulations on the brand. And thank you for being on the show, my friend.
No, again, I appreciate it every time we do this. Thank you for everything, and proud of the partnership, and thanks for all you do for us and all you do for the outdoor community.
Thank you so much. That's the great Tyler Jordan, Realtree Camouflage, the Realtree lifestyle, friends, family, outdoors. Get involved with the outdoors and understand what true concealment is and consistent daily results. There's a picture posted today. Today, this episode is being recorded on May 11th, 2023. When you hear this, go back in your Instagram at Realtree Outdoors and look at the post they made today of the concealment of this pattern and what it does in so many different scenarios. That's what I've been so impressed with. And I've hunted a lot in the last 15 years. I hunted 127 days last year. That sounds like a lot, but it's not enough. I want to hunt more, and I want to be in my Realtree. Thank you all so much for being here on the podcast.